Good morning. We're out on a hike around down the lane and off looking at woods. And we're also down here trying to get our yearly lion's mane mushroom. If you peek through all the brush, you can see that white right there in the middle of the screen. That's the lion's mane. A little bit closer. I've been watching it for several days. And I see that it keeps growing, but I don't want it to get too old and, overly mature. I just want to show you that this branch that's been laying here for several years used to be attached right there where that mushroom is. It was a pretty big branch, and it was dead for several years, coming out right there. And there were two mushrooms growing before that broke off. One was growing over in here, and then this bigger one was growing here. And after it broke off, we didn't know if it would keep growing or not. And now that I'm looking down in here, I see another one growing. I don't know if that's going to keep growing this year and get bigger, or if it's just going to be small. Over here is what I see that it's doing, kind of getting a little bit brownish and drying out and getting a little bit too mature. The ants sure do like it. They find this and crawl all over the place. So what we're going to do is cut it across here so we leave a good amount of the base of it, and we take the top part of it. Okay, I've got old guy's pocket knife. He sharpened it up a little bit. And I'm going to start cutting into here so I can leave the base and see what happens. Now, you want to pick this. If you find one of these, make sure you wait until it's nice and dry to cut it off, because these things are kind of like sponges and they absorb water. There it is. That thing is really heavy, and even with the morning dew, it's kind of wet, and maybe I should have waited till this afternoon when it got a little bit drier. See the little teeth kind of things that are on it? This is why they call it a lion's mane mushroom, because it has what looks kind of like hair on it. Here's where I cut it off. I'm going to leave all that because I think that'll help feed the ants a little bit if the ants need to eat, and it'll be a base for it to grow again next year. Here's where it was getting a little bit too mature, but that's not ruined by any means. Isn't it beautiful? It looks kind of like stuff you find in a cave, the way it stalactites or stalagmites. I can smell it. It definitely smells like a mushroom. Here's where I cut it off. It's solid in there, and this piece of mushroom is really quite heavy. It's solid. It's not full of holes and empty places. So I guess we'll take our walk back up to the house. I'm going to actually cut this in half and give half of it to Jeremiah and Galilee's family, so they can enjoy some of it too.
I used to live in the country on a high lonesome hill, crow by day and by night the whippoorwill. I used to live in the country on a high lonesome hill, crow by day and by night the whippoorwill. But I'm satisfied, tickled too, just to be with you.
Well, back at the house, I'm going to attempt to cut this in about half. There's a lot more of them than there are us. That's harder to cut than I thought it would be. There's what it looks like. I'll give them the nicer part. We'll take up this part that I have to trim off. So I'm going to go take this part to them, and I'm going to ask them to show you how they fix it, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix our part.
Ooh, lion's mane.
Yeah. Would you mind showing our viewers how you're going to fix it?
Sure, I can do that.
Okay.
This is exciting. They're so pretty.
They are. They're pretty amazing.
Thank you.
And what we have when you slice it is something that actually looks very much like bread. It's a nice solid flesh inside there, no holes. So let's get it over into the pan. When I did a video before of cooking lion's mane mushrooms, I breaded them and cooked them in oil. And this time I'm just going to saute them in a little bit of oil. And then I'm going to add my homemade, homegrown ghee and get that hot. And that'll take a couple minutes. So I want to cook these fairly slow. So my skillet's not going to be very hot the whole time. I think they'll be more tender and tasty if they're cooked nice and gently. And right now I'm not going to put any salt or pepper on them, but I will do it after I turn it once. After it's cooked for a little bit, I'm going to flip them over. You see it's starting to gently brown. And of course it always gets a little hotter in the center than it does around the edge. I think they look really nice. The part of the golden is because of the butter. It's at this point that I'll sprinkle some salt over the top. And let them cook a little bit more. After I've cooked them and turned them several times and they're starting to get brown, I'm going to take the thinner slices out as they turn brown and I feel like they're done. And now we're ready to see if old guy wants to come for a taste test.
It looks like the boss has got some tiger or lion's mane. I guess it is. Lion's mane cooked up. It looks kind of like a mane. It looks kind of hairy, but it's really not. So I guess I'm going to see what it tastes like.
Well, you've eaten it before. We've had it before.
Now, we've had it before, but that was last year.
Yeah.
And I forgot what it tastes like.
I think you'll find it fairly chewy.
It is quite chewy, but it had a lot of character to it too. It tastes real good.
It probably, can you get a good butter flavor?
Yeah. Butter and the salt tastes
Here,
good.
let me have a bite. Let me see. I'll take that one. I like it. It is pretty chewy, but it's worth chewing.
But we only have one place, one tree on the farm as far as we know that has this lion's mane, whatever it is,
Mushroom.
mushroom.
Okay, well, we'll see what Jeremiah and his family did with theirs.
Well, I'm going downtown with my hat caved in, coming back home with a pocket full of tin.
Half a cup of flour.
Well, I'm going downtown with my hat caved in, coming back home with a pocket
Salt.
full of tin.
Black pepper. Garlic powder. And a little bit of paprika.
Satisfied, tickled too, just to be with you.
So we sliced up the mushroom that my mom found. It smells very mushroomy. I'm gonna dip it in the egg. And bring it over here and dip it in the flour. Dip in the egg. And then back to the flour. to fry it in
Well,
oil.
I promise that I won't be gone too long. I'll be thinking about you every minute that I'm gone. Well, I promise that I won't be gone too long. I'll be thinking about you every minute that I'm gone. Well, I'm satisfied, tickled too, just to be with you.
I think this is done. I'm just going to pull them out and let them sit for a little bit.
Well, you're my baby, you're the one. Throw your arms
Let's
around
try
me
this
like
out.
a
I'm
circle
excited.
around the sun. Well, you're my baby, you're the one. Throw your arms around me like a circle.
It's really good and
around the
tender, and it's
sun.
got a nice flavor to it. I'm glad to have these as a little treat every now and then. They're pretty exciting.
Well, I'm satisfied, tickled too, just to be with you.